pinch hitting. The Bulls wrapped up their spring season a couple weeks ago. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. If you would just give us an overview of how the spring went for you at USF and what you're expecting to see through the rest of the off season as we get ready for the 2019 campaign.
All right. Thanks for having me. Obviously, spring obviously went well for us. We have a new offensive coordinator in Kerwin Bell, so we had to install a new offense, and we're trying to do some things differently on defense. So it's almost, a new staff per se, because we have some different coaches that came in. We had some changes on our offensive and obviously defensive staff. So it was great. It was almost a refresher, even though we're going into our third year. But I think everything went well. We came out healthy, which is always the number one thing coming out of spring practice. Offensively, I think we're going to have some, different looks and some different, schemes that I think are going to match our talent on offense, starting with the quarterback and Blake Barnett, where he gets a chance to start in his second year in a program, and he's an established starter at the quarterback position. Obviously, we love his talent, as a thrower, and I think he's going to get a chance to highlight that even more with Coach Bell's offense.
We'll take questions for Coach Brian Jean-Marie. Hit *1 on your keypad, and then the operator will introduce you.
Our next question comes from Mark Narducci with Philadelphia Inquirer.
You're on the defensive. Coach, I know you're on the defensive side of the ball, but I just wanted to get your impressions, what you thought on receiving Eddie McDoom, the transfer from Michigan.
Eddie has been a welcome addition. I was on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, but he was able to come in the last preseason camp, and because of, NCAA rules, he wasn't able to actually dress and play in games, but he was down there with us on the scout team, and his skill level is off the charts. You can see why he was a highly rated recruit and how he ended up at the University of Michigan. He was a kid that came in humble, didn't have, that attitude that he was coming from the Big Ten, and that he didn't have to come in and work to earn his spot on our roster. He came in and did everything that we asked him to do as far as being a scout team player for us. I think he played maybe 5 or 6 different positions, from quarterback when we played an option team to, running back when we had a really good running back, to every receiver spot and even some tight end. Like I said, very humble kid that's super talented. You can see the speed and, the playmaking ability that he had just on the scout team. He gave us all types of fits, from the defensive perspective as a scout team player. So we're happy he's moved over the offense, and he's going to be able to show what he can do, to the rest of the conference.
Hey, Coach, one other thing. Is he better in the slot or outside?
I know that would be a question for Coach Bell. I know wherever we line him up, he seems to be very productive. I know with some of his, running ability, as far as a speed sweep guy or a reverse type of guy, I know that's easier to get him the ball from the slot. But I know he's lined up outside also because of his speed. He's a vertical threat, So I would believe, just from what I saw this spring, they're going to move him all around the field, and they're going to try to get him the ball in a variety of ways.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
And our next question comes from Dan Tortora with WakeUpCallDT.com.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
How you doing, Dan?
Doing well. Just what you could say, like you said, stepping into year 3, just the leadership of Charlie Strong, just what he's meant to you, what he's meant to the staff and to the players, kind of what the connection has been in these last few seasons at USF.
That's a great question. I think when we first got to USF, 3 years ago, they were a senior-laden team that we had to, be able to, gain their trust. You had, players such as Quentin Flowers and, Augie Sanchez, Deidre Sennett, Bruce Hector, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You had a lot of, guys that had played a lot of football, and we had to, be able to gain their trust coming from the University of Texas. And that's the kind of the beauty of Coach Strong. He was able, in his own way, to basically form the team in his light. He wanted to still reflect his, beliefs and the way he wanted the team to play. But he also gave those guys the power to still be individuals and still lead in the way that they did, which is a great trait. And we obviously had a successful season. Coming into last year, we lost most of those guys, and we were a young team per se. So we were, kind of starting from the ground up. We had a transfer that came in at quarterback, and we had, like I said, a bunch of inexperienced guys that were in new positions. And obviously we started the season, as well as you could start it, going 7-0. But some of those cracks in our foundation started to show up when we started getting some injuries and some adversity. So you kind of saw both sides of it. But I know just from our conversations, individually and with the staff, he really likes where we're at as a team now. He really feels like we're we kind of have one mindset, and everybody in the building's on the same page, from the players to the coaches. So I know he's been excited this off season from where we're at as a team right now.
And what can you say about the state of USF football? Where are things at coming out of the spring? I know you've made mention of a few things here this morning, but just an overall sense of where this team is at right now.
I think we're in a good position. Like I said, we had some turnover on the staff, but we feel like it was it's been for the best. I think bringing in a new offense that has different philosophies and different schemes, it's been a challenge for us on defense. So we've been able to kind of recharge our battery. Also, we're trying to do some different things on defense to give people some different looks and put some different packages on the field. So it was as exciting as a spring practice as I've been involved in, and we like where we're at right now. I know, like I said, nobody in the building likes the way we ended the season, but we also understand we have some really good players coming back, and we like the mindset that our players have right now going into the summer. Now we have to carry that over into the fall, obviously, once the season starts, but we feel like we're in a much better place than we were last year.
Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Coach, thanks so much for pinch hitting and giving us a few minutes today. We look forward to catching up as we get closer to the season.